Look, I rang this radio talkback show about August last year, and I spoke to Leon Byrne, and I said, Leon, very worried about this government. I think they own the rain. And he virtually hung up on me. Anyway, a few months later, I was at Victor Harbour at this natural resource management so-called consultation meeting, and I listened to their jargon for about an hour, and anyway, there were 7 of them sitting out the front. And I said, look, can one of you tell the people here tonight who owns the water that comes out the sky? And their heads just dropped. And I said, look, just let the people know. There's about 200 people here, let them know. They wouldn't answer me. I said, I'm not going anywhere. Who owns the rain? And this little guy, Martin Stokes, stood up and he said, the Crown. And I said, well, if the Crown owns the water, I said, we're going to have to bid you for the storage of your so-called water. And this other peanut got up, Stephen Smith, and he said, there's a court system, mate. Well, that really stirred me up. So, anyway, just to show you a little bit of this lunacy, what's going on around the place, we've set up FLAG SA, which is Food Producers Landowners Action Group South Australia, and it's a few farmers and business owners, and we've got together to try and really change a few things with John's help, who's been absolutely fantastic. But they want to fence off our dams, fence off our creeks, and I said, why do you want to do that? Oh, to stop animal faeces going into the creeks and the dams. I said, well, microorganisms feed off animal faeces. I said, so you just want to fence off these creeks and dams and let noxious weeds go wild, and how do we get rid of them? Spray chemicals. And I said, what about the bushfire hazard? What about the instance where country fire service need to get around your paddocks in a hurry and get access to water? They can't answer that. And also they want to start metering our dams at a cost to us of up to $2,000 each, and rainwater tanks. The city people don't like that, so that's how we get them on board. And then they want to put levee banks in our paddocks so we can capture less water in our dams. And I've got a 23-inch rainfall where I am, and they want us to capture 15% of the runoff. But you don't always get runoff, it depends on the topography of your land, your soil. And these people don't understand it. And I really begrudge, I've worked my guts out for what I've got, and I really begrudge paying taxes for these dirty riders to send me broke. They're also coming onto our properties unannounced, spreading disease. I mean, I'm part of the Yonis program. Now, as people know that the Yonis disease, the people that are aware of it, you only need a thumbnail of faeces, and my stud could be ruined just like that. I could get a blood test, get a reaction, and I'm finished. Now, I might not be home when they come onto my property, and I can tell you right now, I won't be putting up with that sort of crap. Occupational health and safety issues. They could go into one of my paddocks. I've got 20 bulls in a paddock. The bulls will clean them up. Where do we stand with that? Stocking and grazing rates. They want to tell us how to stock our paddocks, how to graze our pastures. And be very careful. What if you can't afford to do all this? Fence off your dams, fence off your creeks, buy a meter. Is that non-compliant? Section 127(6)(a) of the Natural Resource Management Act is a $35,000 fine for an individual, and they want to change that to $700,000. And for a body corporate at $70,000, they want to change it to $2.2 million. Their consultation meetings are not consultation meetings, they're dictatorship meetings. I asked a heap of questions, but I'll just give you a couple of questions that I asked, and they couldn't answer it. But I asked them, I said, what percentage of water is being held in dams in this state compared to the average rainfall and runoff? They couldn't tell anybody. And I said, how much of your natural resource management levy goes to help the environment? Couldn't answer me. And as John said, they didn't want us speaking publicly. They just wanted to quiet you down, go and have a cup of coffee and speak as individuals. Well, we don't want to do that. When we ask a question, we want everybody to hear it. We want everybody to hear their useless answers. They talk about the environment. They're using this environment and water a way of total control. And they talk about the environment. Well, if they're worried about the environment, we've got too much fresh water going out to sea now that's ruining our seagrass. Why aren't we storing it? And then they talk about our precious resource, water. Well, if our bloody water's so precious, why are we selling one drop of it to overseas investors? $30 billion worth has been sold so far. And they can also seize your equipment. But look, I'll leave it at that. If you want to ask me any questions, that's fine. But I can tell you now, I'm certainly not going to go to my grave without one hell of a fight.